Good morning, well actually, good afternoon. We're out at Cheddar today and we're going to do a camp. Well, that's the plan, if we can find somewhere reasonably sheltered. It's it's quite blustery, a bit more blustery than I was expecting, but we're gonna head over the other side, and it's a bit wetter than I was expecting too. I've got my damn. The forecast this afternoon was supposed to be cloudy and some sunny intervals. I'll check the forecast again in a minute. But anyway, this is sort of one side of Cheddar. Cheddar's kind of over there, maybe, well, it's about an hour, it's about an hour walk from here. If you're a very quick walker, you can probably do it a bit quicker, but historically this section going this way has usually taken about an hour. I have to admit, I kind of hope that the weather does I hope it's not too bad, because I've got this hat, but I was kind of checking the forecast, and like I said, it was supposed to be sunny this afternoon with maybe a little with a breeze, but I hadn't quite planned on this cold wet rain, so I've not brought any gloves with me, so I don't think we'll freeze to death, to be fair. But it's a bit more bitter than I was expecting. So the plan really is we're gonna go to the other side of Cheddar, and right on the horizon you can see those trees, and then that ridge line across there. Well, where that ridge line is, on the horizon, where the yellow is, that's the top of, that's the highest point in the Mendip. So it's going to take probably about 3 hours to get over there, because it's, like I said, it's about an hour to get to Cheddar. Then it'll be, well, maybe a bit less than that, but it kind of depends really, weather and whether we stop or, but it's an hour to Cheddar, then over to those trees is at least another hour from Cheddar. So by the time we get on the top up there, it's going to be, you know, we'll be past the 2 hour mark from now. So it's, I mean, we took a while to get going from the car. We parked the car at 3, but it was kind of like raining and not very nice. So we were a bit slow to get going. So it's 20 past, nearly 25 past 3, so hopefully we're on the top up there in in the next couple of hours we'll be near it. But we'll just show you a little bit of this area here. We've got everything that we need, including water. I've got about probably a minimum of 6 litres of water on me, which has probably easily doubled the weight of the pack. I put Chris Townsend's Niak tent in, but it's a yellow label, really kind of like 2 to 3 season tent, and I forgot to put extra cord in to help support it. I was half tempted to bring the Enan with me, and then I thought, well, I've used that quite a bit, and I've only used the Niak once on Dartmoor last year. I think, funny enough, that was miserable windy weather too, and was a bit of a challenge for it. So this really is not Niak weather. So we'll have to try and find somewhere sheltered. It's supposed to ease down the winds, you know, early evening. I think overnight, I think it eases off a bit. I'll have a look in a minute. Oh, I just thought we would just record the sheer bravery, because it's very brave to come out in weather like this. You know, we need a bravery award, I think, more like a stupidity award. Oh my God, I was going to look at my phone to check the weather, and instead we got this hammering down on us. Oh, and it really doesn't look very nice over there. I think I might have to put I think I'm going to get to this tree, and then I think I'm going to put my waterproof trousers on, because it might just be this cloud, you know, that's up here, so it might actually pass, but bloody hell, it's rather brutal, to say the least. I might even just just take some shelter here by this tree. We'll just take a bit of shelter here, because that's already soaked my trousers through. It's and this tree is giving some protection. Oh, that's really, really brutal, unpleasant weather. I think the rain is starting to ease off actually. I think we can get going again. I think that tree just helped. Of course, with this is why, you know, not to wear cotton, because cotton would now take ages to dry. So hopefully with the wind, and if it doesn't rain anymore, then, you know, hopefully the trousers will dry out fairly quickly. But kind of the point of this walk is I am hoping to get up to Scotland with Chris again, but whether there's any snow and all this wind that's up there too eases, you know, I don't know when I can get up there. I've got skis up there, everything to try and get up there. Well, to bring home, I mean. And when I did the video last week with the solo mid and the cricket, I was kind of thinking, well, I really want to, you know, just have another little camp out here. It's really quite close to home. It's like 45 minutes, an hour, depending on traffic really. And I've camped out here, you know, a few times, and I must admit I've enjoyed the ones that I've done. And I did a few camps out here I did some last year, but I did some like 6 or 7 years ago. I came out here a couple of times. If you go back in time, then I think I brought the Cuban DCF Duo Mid out here. I think once we head down a bit, then we'll be out of some of this wind. So, but yeah, the kind of what the story the story of this trip, I was half thinking, well, I'll try and record myself opening and closing a few gates and do a few walk pasts, and maybe we'll do that as well. But I must admit, I find the whole idea of that a bit, I won't say pointless, because it's clearly very popular, and I think that's why other videos that do that are quite popular. I think people obviously like watching people walking past the camera into the distance rather than some twat, you know, talking into a camera, waffling away. We'll show you some views now we've come up here. So over there you can't really see very much, but the M5 will kind of run sort of over that way, not over here, but the M5 is probably running in that direction, so we'll probably get a better view maybe if it clears up. But Weston-super-Mare is kind of over there. If you're on the motorway, you will probably see that single nipple on the horizon when you're on the M5. Maybe one day we'll walk out to it, because even though I've done a lot of walking around here, I tend to sort of head over, bypass that forest I was showing you, which we can't currently see, and then over the Mendips back. But one day we must walk to that nipple, maybe do it as part of our 2-day trip out when the weather's a bit nicer and maybe a little bit more of an unknown adventure, because I don't know where we camp over there. I don't know anything. I've never been that way. I'm kind of hoping that when we start heading back towards the car that we can basically, we're basically going to find a farmer's field, or you know, an open field that hopefully has a bit of shelter that we can, you know, safely put the Niak. Because I've left behind a few bits. I've got the dog food. I've got dog food. Ooh. I've got dog food. I got the tent. I got a sleeping pad. I got food. But I've left the repair kit behind. Apart from a couple of headache tablets, I haven't got a first aid kit. Just on a simple walk like this, which basically I would do as a day walk. We're just gonna stop off for the night. So, you know, realistically, we shouldn't need a repair kit or a first aid kit, because when I do this as a day walk, I don't carry those things. So I saved a bit of weight there, but like I said, I've made the pack extra heavy by bringing the Niak, which is about 1.7 kilograms, plus at least 6 litres of water. I reckon it's probably a good 6 litres, because I got two 2-litre platypuses, but they hold more than 2 litres. So I reckon between them that's about 5 litres minimum, and they're filled right to the top. So, and they're in the top of the pack. So kind of hope they don't leak over everything. And then I've got my 2 550, whatever they are, millilitres of water. So I've got a minimum of 6 litres of water on me. That's an absolute minimum. I didn't bother putting a pack on Lassie this time. I thought normally I'd stick a pack on, or even a small one, and give her a couple of bits to carry, but I thought this is an easy walk where I've carried this weight around here when I've done pitching videos and such. So I thought, bugger it, I'll carry everything this time. But you don't get away with it every time, Lassie. You carry your fair share normally. We're heading down this little track down here. This is kind of like just all farmland. Obviously here there's a couple of well, there's not that much waterways, to be fair. I was going to say there's some, but when you're over by the forest, there's a little stream over by the forest. There's obviously the waterway through Cheddar, but I mean, you'd have to be pretty desperate and difficult to get water from that. There's some cow troughs around, so you could in theory nick water from those and filter that. Obviously I would filter any water I took around here. You know, even I would filter water around here. You know, we're below or level with civilization here, so obviously I would filter it here. But yeah, I still haven't told you the story of this trip. Well, the story of this trip is just you know, because sometimes people, you know, on the forum, they say, well, where to camp? And when I started, and I was like chatting with 1 or 2 people, don't really chat with with them now, but I was chatting to a couple of people in the very early days, and one of them said that wild camping is not camping in a field or you know, unless it's, you know, in the wilderness or something like that. And I must admit, kind of back then, I was kind of sort of thinking, well, okay, yeah, I kind of get what you mean. You know, wild camping probably is, you know, out in the middle of nowhere, you know, with a Peak District, Lake District, that more the wilderness. But really, I just think, you know, if you want to get out and you want to, you know, have a practice, or maybe the weather's not so great and you can't get to the more distant places that you want to get to, you know, why not? I'm not saying just, you know, shack up in a farmer's field specifically, but, and certainly not within sight or sound of a farmer. So there's not many farms that have fields that are, you know, remote, you know, enough. But I got one or two ideas around here that are fairly quiet and hopefully sheltered. So that's kind of really what we're going to explore this trip, is, you know, is can we find somewhere, and, you know, do people think that it constitutes, is that the right word? You know, wild camping. And I think it does. Really, I think it does. I think, you know, I think if you just specifically say, well, wild camping is only if you're, you know, up a mountain, I think that's a little bit snobby, really. I think wild camping can be, you know, if you can find somewhere local, remote, in that you are out of sight and sound of buildings and property, and you get there late-ish, which, to be fair, we will. We're not going to get anywhere until 6 or 7 o'clock this evening, and get going in the morning. To be fair, we probably won't be up at the crack of dawn. We probably won't be up at dawn either, but you know, we're going to aim to be gone for 10ish. I think anywhere we find, I don't think we're going to have anyone seeing us or walking past. And I think the most important thing is just make sure you take everything with you. Okay, so the end of that path brings us to really the first of the mud, the cheddar mud. It has started to dry in a few places. This is not as, I haven't got my walking poles there. I strap them on the pack. I can grab them if necessary. Sometimes when I'm holding the camera, especially if I'm like doing it like this and there's quite a bit of recording, sometimes they do get in the way. Western Super Mud is kind of on the horizon over there somewhere. It's probably a bit further down too, but you're kind of not a million miles away. A few dozen probably. These kind of lumpy bumpy things that are around, obviously there's that big one over there, there's that one there, obviously there's Cheddar Gorge here. Is that like part of the Ice Age or something? Are they things that were left around, you know, when did the ice the icicles, did the glaciers come, did they get this far? I don't know if they got this far. Cheddar Reservoir, you kind of walk around it. That's a very touristy thing. So we won't be going anywhere near that. And my trousers, which were soaked, what, about 20 minutes, half an hour ago, are now, well, I wouldn't say completely bone dry, but, you know, given that they were soaked, they're probably about 95% dry now. So they've they've done well to dry out. Yeah, it's 10 to 4. So yeah, so we've been walking about 35, 40 minutes, something like that. So, waffling along like this, it seems longer. It seems like we've been walking for ages, but it's like half an hour or so. So that's a little view behind. So if I was looking somewhere to, you know, I wouldn't be, I suppose if you were really desperate, you could probably pitch down there, but you've got farm buildings there, you've got a farm building up there, so I probably personally wouldn't be, I'd be looking for something, you know, a bit more remote than that. Like I said, we're going to get to the other side of Cheddar, we're going to go past the woods, we're going to go over the top of Beacon Batch, going to go, and then we're going to sort of start heading back to the car. And basically there's one field that I've got in mind, and there's no buildings around it, but I must admit I've never actually looked at it with the thought, can I camp there? So I don't know what it's like, and last time we were there was quite a few small cows in it, so we might not be able to use that one. And another field that I cross regularly, I think is going to be too muddy. I think it was ploughed quite recently, so we might end up having to cross the road up the other side and then find something the other side. And that's like, I don't know, 75% of the walk. I'd like to find something kind of like before there, but I don't think we will. And like I said, I want to get, you know, there we are. I want to get a good portion, thinking about Jeffro, I want to get a good portion into the walk, you know, before we even contemplate shacking up somewhere. Although the sooner we shack up, then can use this water that we're carrying. But yeah, we need to make quite good progress. I think what I might actually do, I think I might be tempted just to stop just down here and get the pack off, have a small drink of water, because the problem with this pack, this is my old Osprey Talon pack. I've had this, I don't know, 15 years, and it's just fun to use it for something a bit different sometimes. And the side pockets, they're too tight when the pack's full. You know, I can get pegs in, and that's realistically it. You know, I can't get the water bottle in it. Mind you, I didn't try very hard, but I wouldn't be able to get it out anyway. The water bottle, that is. Anyway, okay, well, that's the view there. I'm just going to take the pack off and just have a drink of water a minute. Okay, so we're through Cheddar, and we're going up. No, not quite so muddy Cheddar Hill now. So we came through a gate down there. All you can see here is just trees and such like. I took my coat off because it was coming up here. I'd warmed up quite substantially before I even got to the bottom of the hill, so I thought better to take my coat off and then get walking. And I've got the pulse as well. So we'll walk a bit further up and then we'll reconvene in a minute. well, either later on or tomorrow we'll be over the other side of the gorge, and then earlier we were walking past those farmhouses over there and down the valley into Cheddar. So we've come through Cheddar. I didn't bother filming Cheddar, maybe I'll film it another time, show you some shops or something. But we're mainly here for the outside. To be honest, if I'd have thought about it, I probably would have filmed, just shown a bit, but I didn't even think about it. I was halfway up the hill and I suddenly thought, oh, I could have filmed it there. And then I thought, well, let's film a little bit up the hill. And then we're probably about 3/4 of the way up here. There's maybe more actually, maybe more like 80% up, because it's really just up through here, and you can go right to go along the gorge for the gorge walk, although the official way now is over there. We've put a new path over there. You might just be able to see it by the wall over there. But this was the original old way, so I must admit I still come this way, but it's a bit more unmanaged and overgrown now. But in any event, I still come this way. But if I was doing the gorge walk, I'd get through here and then take a right-hand turn. Right turn, Clyde. But as we're not doing the gorge walk and we're heading up, then we're going to go straight on up here, and then out over the top of Beacon Batch. And really, once we get over Beacon Batch and then into the fields, which is probably an hour to an hour and a half from now, so it's just gone 6:30. Yeah, so I would imagine sometime in the next hour and a half, give or take a bit, we'll potentially be looking for somewhere to pitch up for the night, hopefully. So another place that you could go if you wanted to, you could, you know, those fields over there, there might be, I mean, it looks it looks hilly from here, but there might be somewhere over there and with no housing or farms or buildings nearby over there. I don't know. It looks a bit hilly, to be honest. But really, like I said, if you've got a bivvy, and we got a tent, but if you've got a bivvy, like I did in that trip November last year, then as long as you can find a flat bit, even if it's very slopey all around, you can just put a bivvy down somewhere. So this is really the last little bit of uphill here for the minute. Come on then, this way. Come on, we're going this way. So if you're doing the gorge walk, you'd be going up through there. But we're not doing the gorge walk, so we're going to go this way. We do have to help Lizzie over here. Easy. It's just a bit too big, that. Oh. Ooh. it's pretty blustery again. Of course, we're back out in the open. Checking the forecast, it's supposed to ease off about 8 o'clock. So we'll be pitching before that, hopefully. But hopefully we survive the pitching and it calms down pretty quickly after that. And then it should be calmer for the evening, hopefully. Come on. Unless he's got some spiky twig stuck to her tail. Fluffy knickers. You got fluffy knickers. Good. Alright, well, quite soon we're going to be kind of back up the top, which is where we were in my last video when I camped here, and we came over the top and I showed you all the muddy bits and everything up on Beacon Batch. So if you haven't seen that video crossing up there, then check it out, because I think I've got to make a phone call, so that's going to take a bit of time. So I'm probably not going to be able to film up there, but I have filmed up there before, and so we will probably end up catching up a little bit later on when we're near a camp or in camp, if I find somewhere campable. Anyway, yeah, but basically we're going to go to the end here. We're going to go left through the farm down there along the road, and then straight up onto the top up there. Some point or other I'll probably go through that forest. I might not do that this time. I think the weather's pretty miserable and getting a bit tired now as well, so I might pass on that this time, but we'll probably do that. We'll probably go through there another time, but I think this time I'm gonna head up to this side of the trees over there and across the top, head over towards those but not to those two masts over there, and then down the fields, and I'm kind of sort of thinking about finding a field kind of over there in the distant future, distance. I wouldn't know. Lizzie, wait! I wouldn't know where, but I'll find something quiet where there's nothing around. Like I said, if I can't find anything this side of the road, then I'll have to go up. Go up from Black Rock, up the hill, and then I'll find something up the top on the other side that's hopefully a bit sheltered. I'm going to pick Lizzie up. I don't trust Lizzie through there. Wait there, Lizzie.